Hey everybody, welcome back. So we are gonna start off this sight reading with a shout out to several folks who wrote in and gave me some suggestions. So thank you to Bailey, Storm, Gabriel, Griffin, even though I can't do a backflip. That's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. Emily, Jace, Angeline, Nora, Damari. Thank you guys so much for offering your suggestions. I am not going to be able to use all of them because some of them are a little bit too short to use for a half note. I got a lot of half note suggestions. A half note, our motion is going to have to show the length of the note, but I will use those suggestions at another time. Or for a different note value. I also wanted to say thank you, Madison, for sharing your video of playing recorder to There Was an Old Witch, and to Jeremiah, who sent me a message issuing a special challenge. Actually, I'll talk about that later. So let's take a look at this week's example. Well, actually, before we do that, we need to talk about how we're going to perform incorporating some of these new motions. We're going to really focus heavily on the dotted quarter note followed by a single eighth note. Dotted quarter note, if you remember, is tum. It's 1.5 beats. Okay, so a quarter note plus an eighth note. Tum. We're going to clap tum by starting low and coming up towards our chest. Okay, it's followed by an eighth note often. That's how we'll be seeing it. So when you see an eighth note, we're going to snap on the eighth note when it's by itself, but we're also going to snap on eighth notes when you see them in a pair. Just alternate hands. For our quarter notes, we're going to stomp. For our dotted half notes, I'm actually going to back up. For our dotted half note, we're going to do something with our feet. You stomp on one side, ta, and then with the other foot, draw a half circle, ah. So it's a total of 3 beats for your dotted half note. Sorry, that's really bright, but I'll be done soon, okay? Ta, try it with me, go. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, half notes. Why don't we try jumping the half notes? But it's gonna be a little tricky. You're gonna have to start bending ta and then actually jump on the second half of your half note. The second half of your half note. Yes. So ta, ta, ta. Does that make sense? Practice that. Ta, ta, ta. Okay. For our quarter rest, we touch our shoulders, and to the new element, there's a pretty big hint staring you in the face. Can you guess what it is? Well, it's called a tie. In music, a tie takes 2 note values and it adds them together. So even though you might see 2 separate notes, you're only going to get 1 sound from adding them together. Let's take a sneak preview at the first measure. It starts with a dotted quarter note followed by a single eighth note, or tum T. Then we have a quarter note with a curved line that's attaching it to a pair of eighth notes. So we're going to add those 2 notes together that are tied, the quarter note and the eighth note, the first half of that pair. And every time we see a tied note, let's tap our head. Okay, I'm just going to point out one last thing before we start, and that's that in the very first measure, the rhythm that you're going to end up hearing is going to maybe sound different than what you're expecting based on what you see. But in fact, the first half of the measure and the second half of the measure have the same sound. Let me show it to you. Tum, ti, ta, ti. Notice that I had to say ta, even though I was tying together the quarter note and the eighth note and making it 1.5 beats. But I don't have a way that I can insert the sound of the T in there because the tie is taking it away. All right, here's the whole example. Ready, set, here we go. Tum, ti, ta, ti, ta. Tum, ti, ta, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ti, ta, ta, ta. Ti, ti, ta, 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 ta. Whew, hung on to it there. I almost did this for my half note and I remembered the jump. All right, let's keep going. Next, we're going to look at an example that's mostly simpler rhythmically, but we're going to be adding to it. Take a look at the beginning and notice the pickup measure. If you don't remember what that means, the pickup measure is one that seems like it doesn't belong. It's at the beginning of the piece of music and it doesn't match the time signature. Here our time signature is 4/4. Meaning we're grouping 4 beats together in each measure, but the very first measure only has 1 beat and 2 sounds, those 2 eighth notes. So we're actually coming in on beat 4. When I start us off, I will say, ready, set, go, and then we'll start. I want to try something a little bit different for our eighth notes when they're paired together. Because we have so many, it can be easy to get lost, and we really want to keep a sense of the strong, steady beat. So on the first of every eighth note, you're going to actually touch your wrists together like this. And for the second of each eighth note pair, you're going to touch your fingertips like this. Thanks, Miss Ransom. That was a really, really cool trick that you shared with me. So your TT now looks like this. TT. Can you try it with me? Go. TT. Try it 2 more times. TT. Try it 1 last time. TT. So that's how we're going to do the TTs, or the paired eighth notes here. For the quarter notes and the dotted quarter notes and the single eighth notes, we'll just clap. Okay? So paired eighth notes here. Quarter notes, dotted quarter notes, single eighth notes, clapping. Okay. Ready, set, go. T, 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 ta. T, 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 ta. Ta. Tum, ti, tum, ti, 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 tum, ti, 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 ta. T, 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 ta. That was fun. I love it. Really like showing the eighth notes that way. Okay, here's what's next. We're adding pitch. We're going to turn this rhythm into a melody. We're going to use the pitches so and do that we've been working with for, a couple weeks or a couple cycles, depending on who's watching this. C is do. We have low C and low do, high C and high do. G is so. Okay? So remember that for our low C, we have the note below the staff with the ledger line right through the middle. For the high C, we're in the 3rd space of our staff. For our G, we're on the 2nd line of the staff. Okay, they kind of change back and forth a lot, so just do your best to follow along. Signing is really important. If you're face-to-face, I'm going to ask you to speak the solfege syllables with me, and if you are an OWL student, I'm going to ask you to sing along with me, and everyone should definitely be signing low, high, do, and so. Ready, set, go. Do do so 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 do do so 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 do 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 so 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 do do so 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 do 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 so do 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 so 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 do. How was it? As long as you are able to follow the contour and get your arms moving high and low along with the notes on the staff, I think that that's going to be at least something to work with. Here's the last example. We're going to add a new note and solfege syllable and sign. Do you recognize it? It's me. That's spelled M-I, by the way, not like me. Me is going to be the note E, okay? E lives on the first line of the treble staff. So now we have some E's or me's interspersed throughout. Do your best to read and sign along. In fact, in order to help you get ready, let's just do a few patterns to warm up. Please be my echo. Mi, mi, do. Mi, mi, so. So, mi, so. So, mi, so, do. So, mi, do. All right, let's give it a whirl. Ready, set, go. Do, mi, so, 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 mi, do, mi, so, 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 do. Do, mi, so, 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 mi, do, mi, so, 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 do. Do, 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 so. Do, 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 so. Mi, so, 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 mi, so, 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 mi, do. Might be a lot, I know. But, you know, the best way to get better at it is to keep doing it over and over. Literally, that's the only way. Just keep doing it. So thank you so much for sticking through this video. I knew I threw a lot of stuff at you. And now, to my surprise, so Jeremiah he sent me a message on Schoology. He asked if I take challenges. The answer is yes, I take challenges. And then he said that he's really into pirates, which I think is cool. And that makes me wonder, are you going to be a pirate for Halloween? Do you guys know what you're being for Halloween? Anyway, he asked if I could, no, he didn't ask, he challenged me to do a pirate song or pirate activity on either a hurdy-gurdy, a banjo, or an accordion. Right now, the only one of those that I have is the accordion, so, you know, I thought I would say challenge accepted. So I'm going to try to play you a little pirate thing. If a pirate would dance to that or not. Maybe it had you tapping your toes a little bit. Excuse me. Anyway, I'm so grateful for you guys sending in suggestions. I'm always going to encourage you to send more. msmith@hcps.us if you're face-to-face. If you're an OWL student, you can leave a comment below. I will talk to you soon.